Let's turn to India, which is another interesting place, and you guys have a very interesting view on that, particularly with the regime change that's occurred there. And normally, what happens in politics doesn't necessarily affect what happens in the real economy. This seems the exception from listening to you earlier today.
We're wild about India and have been for a while. And the big change is Modi, because the BJP have come in. He is what I call a businessman. So he's an administrator, not an old-style politician where the whole game was about self-enrichment. It's about what he changes and the way he goes about his business. So with his ministers, they're all given very clear objectives, and it's literally single sentence objectives. You will do this by that date. It's not about how, why could not be done or whatever. That's what he starts with. He has the civil service in India, the senior civil service, absolutely running now. And no more can you clock in when you choose, no more can you come to meetings unbriefed. He's expanded the cabinet a bit, and it's necessary because it's such a vast country. The things he's got to get through now are one, the GST, to have some sort of unified tax system. He's dismantling a lot of these boards that were really quite obstructive to the free movement of trade. And by the way, the GST will also do that because there are inter-regional taxes within India. So one province or one state will charge for moving stuff across its borders and receiving stuff in. So that's a big change. And then he's doing little changes to take all this rent taking, all these bribes being called for when you have notarize your identity. All that sort of stuff's falling away. So with his big push abroad, what he's trying to do is mobilize non-resident Indian funds to come back into India. He's also using those big 20,000 showcase jobs to raise his own funding. So he will not be particularly in need of support from the local industrialists. So he's severing a lot of these problems that were in place under the old Congress party.
And what are the sort of broad sectors that you really like in India, given some of the things that are changing there?
Well, everyone likes the consumer. The trouble is they're on 30 times, and we've got one or two in the brands fund, but where we bought them a long time ago, and they just will keep growing.
Yeah.
But for
30 times profit's a big number.
It's big. It's
not
huge.
Even Medibank Private's that expensive
it's
here.
Huge, but it'll grow. They'll grow and they'll grow. They're growing at 20%, so they come down quite quickly.
Yeah.
And they've got clean balance sheets because we are in these countries. You don't want to have highly levered balance sheets. You've got an economy that is prone to sharp moves in buyers and sellers, both domestic and foreign. So you don't want to have any more risk than you need. Now, the sort of companies we're looking at are these utilities where they have really a growth path that is pretty much preordained, because they've got quite generous terms from the government in terms of what they're entitled to earn. They've got endless projects, and so they can grow at 15% a year for many years.
Yeah.
And you're buying those at 10, 12 times earnings, which makes them very interesting investments. And paying out dividends. So we're getting a high growth rate, we're getting current yield, and it's not as if the regime is going to work against them. The regime is all about opening up, removing obstructions, and these guys are in a perfectly good position. So it's things like energy, transportation, so that is the power grid, the power generators, and there are other things you can look at.